I don't know where you're from, but every person I know that has reported rape had an immediate court date, and the person accused was immediately imprisoned, no innocent until proven guilty, no proof, nothing. Well, I am from the Western world, and your anecdotes do not disprove the statistics. From this UK study, the CSEW estimated that approximately 700,000 people aged 16 to 59 years were victims of an SA in the last year. The majority of these cases will not enter the criminal justice system. Less than 1 in 5 victims of grape or SA by penetration reported their experience to the police. Half of all SA recorded by the police didn't proceed further through the criminal justice system due to evidential difficulties. They even provided this handy bar graph. But your comment sounds kind of American, like me. So let's look at some US statistics. From RAIN's site, out of every 1,000 instances of grape, only 13 cases get referred to a prosecutor, and only 7 cases will lead to a felony conviction. From this article for UMass Lowell, for every 100 grapes and SAs of teenage girls and women reported to police, only 18 lead to an arrest, according to a study conducted by 3 professors of the School of Criminology and Justice Studies. 42 out of 100 languish as inactive cases, while 30 more are closed by exceptional clearance, a designation that is supposed to mean that the police have enough evidence to arrest a suspect but can't do so for reasons outside their control, such as the death of a suspect or his arrest in another jurisdiction. What they found was disheartening for victims, they say. Even when suspects were arrested, prosecutors sometimes declined to file charges, foreclosing further investigation, while other cases fell apart because investigations took so long. From report to arrest to prosecution through disposition, so many reports get dumped out of the system, Padavina says. As mentioned in what I just read, sometimes the victims do choose not to go ahead with the case. Some are advised by their lawyers not to because they don't believe the case is strong enough. But many times it's because the victim has actually been convinced that she was not assaulted or she's been threatened. Ultimately, fewer than 7%, 189 out of 2,887 grape and SA reports made to police over 2 years in 6 jurisdictions resulted in convictions. A lot of times, detectives felt like they had a really good, solid case with enough evidence to make an arrest, but prosecutors declined to go forward. And we've seen tons of examples in the news, in books written by victims, regarding why and how a victim might be swayed to drop a case. Namely, that they're told that the alleged perpetrator's life could be ruined by the accusations. Victims are told what's done is done. Why prolong it and possibly negatively affect someone's life? And since in the US only 13% of victims are SA'd by a stranger, there's also pressure from mutual friends, or if the victim and the perpetrator have family or children in common, the argument is often that the victim will negatively impact the family if the case goes forward. Victims, usually the AFAB ones, are often told that if they were SA'd, the SA was their fault because of you name it. She was using a substance. She was out on a run too late at night. She was wearing a short sleeve shirt that drove the man crazy with lust. If you're telling the truth, I am really glad that all the victims you know got justice and that their assaulters were kept from harming anybody else. But statistically, they're the lucky few. That's just a fact. And since a lot of people like to bring up false imprisonment when it comes to cases like this, usually regarding the alleged perpetrator, did you know that some victims have actually been in prison themselves because it's suspected that they're lying, only for it to be discovered that the victim was telling the truth? Look up the cases of Emma Mannion, Megan Rodini, and Diane Bermeo. And since I know you won't look these cases up, I'll give you a little spoiler. After being victim blamed and pressured by her local police to drop her case, Megan Rodini took her own life less than a year later.